Yes.
How to go to the left? Go to the left and open. Okay, you're good. First guys.
Avatar to 115 minutes cut.
Yeah, I have a friend. I have a friend that works.
Alright.
I mean,
Can gusto. real fake எவ்வளோ பெருசா ஆமா
Yeah, I heard a variety of answers. Macaws, parrots. Both are correct answers. Macaws are a type of parrot. Now, these two are actually both blue-throated macaws, and they're just joining us from about a half a mile away. We train these birds using positive reinforcement, so they know that if they come out here to hang out with us, then they're going to be getting some of their favorite treats. We don't speak their language, and they don't speak ours, but we do know what they like to eat. So by us giving them their favorite treats, that's our way of saying thank you, and hopes that they do that behavior again and again in the future. Now, as beautiful as these two birds are, we absolutely love working with them every single day, but none of us go home to a macaw in the household. They can make extremely challenging pets to have. They're really destructive, incredibly messy, they're professionals at pooping, and they can live for decades on end. 50 to 60 years is not unheard of for birds like this to live, really making them a lifelong commitment. So that's why it's so great that you can come to places just like Disney's Animal Kingdom to get your parrot fix. Maybe keep your home parrot free. Now, I mentioned earlier how Wally and Mondo are both blue-throated macaws. This is just one of 8 different species that we get the opportunity to work with every single day. But we're so incredibly privileged to work with this species in particular because they're actually one of the rarest species of macaws left out in the wild today. In the country of Bolivia, where they're native to, there are fewer than 400 of these blue-throated macaws left. That's due to things like deforestation, which is leading to their habitat loss, and even the illegal pet trade is a problem for these birds. But it's not all bad news, because we're partnering with an organization called the World Parrot Trust. Isn't this incredible? Thank you so much. This is definitely a site worth protecting out in wild places. It looks like we had a majority of the flock come on in and do a loop of Discovery Island. It looks like some of them might have headed back to the aviary. But another species that I absolutely love to point out is hanging out right over there in front of Taylor. That's Catalina, and she is a great green macaw. That's another critically endangered species. There are fewer than 1,000 of these great green macaws left out in the wild today. Thank you so much for joining us for our last winged encounter.
Hola, Warden. That does mean thank you in Swahili. Another thing we like to say here in Harambe is Tuwende, and Tuwende does mean let's go. Jumbo, everybody. My name is Erica. I am joining you all the way from Idaho, and I will be your... Now, just a few things before we get out there and have some fun. Make sure that we keep our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times and remain seated during the whole duration of that safari. Now, if you look above your head there, you are going to notice an animal spotting guide. Those are going to be some of those animals that we may be able to find out on that reserve. Now, it is never a guarantee on which ones we will find, as animals are extremely unpredictable in nature, but I will do my best to point out as many of them to you as possible today. Over there to our left is going to be a tan-colored animal just towards the top of that hill. Now that is going to be the greater kudu. Now greater kudu are among the taller of the antelope species, reaching about 5 feet at the shoulders. Now those three standing there are going to be females, and we can tell that because they do not have horns. Now over there to our right, behind that stump, that is going to be the okapi. Now the okapi is going to be the closest living relative to the giraffes, despite having those stripes on its lower legs. Now that black and white bird there is going to be the saddle-billed stork, and they do get their name because of the yellow saddle-shaped plate on the bridge of their bill. Now that reddish-brown colored animal back there with the horns was the bongo. They were there on our left-hand side. Now bongos are considered the ghosts of the forest because they're able to hide really well within the underbrush and shaded areas due to that coloration. Now we do have another one of those saddle-billed storks just here to our left side by the water. Now that one is the male, and we can tell that based off of their eye color, as the males are going to have a dark brown colored eye. Those females will have a light yellow colored eye. To be the pinked-back pelicans. Now the pinked-back pelicans do get their name because of that pink coloration that appears around their face as well as on their back during mating season. Now there was a Nile hippo back there in the far right corner. I'm not sure if anybody else was able to see that. I think I heard a couple of you call it out. But hopefully we can see some more of them here to our left. Now we do call a group of hippos a bloat, and I can see one swimming through the water there. Now, the reason we call them a blow is because they do not float in the water, so they're actually going to sink down towards the river bottom, run around down there, and that is how they traverse through that water. Now, hippos do spend most of their time in that water, and that is to protect their delicate skin, though we can find them up on land from time to time. There's another one just on the other side of that rock. Now, hippos do have what we call a blood sweat, which is an oily secretion that's going to help to protect their delicate skin, just like how that water does. There's a couple of them walking around over there as well. Now we are getting ready to head over Croc Bridge, so see if you can find any of those crocodiles in the water. They're going to kind of look like logs with teeth and eyeballs.
Wow.
Make sure we just stay seated, please. Now back, crocodiles will be among the larger of the reptile species and the largest reptile here in Africa. Now they are going to be able to reach about 16 feet in length on average. But that does come a pretty large appetite, as they are going to be able to consume about half of their own body weight in food in a single setting. Now that can come out to be anywhere between 250 to 300 pounds, just give or take the size of that animal. Now they are not going to eat that much food very often. They are going to only eat one full meal about once a week. We might traditionally think of when we hear the word African safari, such as those zebras, giraffes, possibly some more rhinos, and maybe if we're lucky we might be able to find a lion.
You have to sit down.
They're very thick, as well as pretty spread apart. They're also going to be the only species of zebra with a dewlap. Now that dewlap is going to be an extra flap of skin that hangs down from something called thermal regulation. Now you can really see it on that one that is closest to us here. Now thermal regulation is just a term that we are going to use to describe how these animals are able to maintain their body temperature so that they're not getting too cold or getting too hot. Now the way they're going to do that is by making sure that their blood is circulating through their whole entire circulatory system. So pushing that blood all the way through their whole entire body. Now the dewlap for these zebras is going to be a way that they are able to at their mercy out here.
You see with the long it's a giraffe.
Wow! Yeah, it's a giraffe.
Zebra.
Yeah, zebras are there.
I like zebras.
You like zebras?
And I like camels. And I like giraffes.
Now there is going to be a few animals just over here. In the far back left is going to be a dark brown colored animal with horns that curve towards the top of its back. Those are going to be the sable antelope. Now the sable antelope is our mascot or our emblem of the reserve, as they do represent us pretty well in what we want to strive for here, which is that resilience. Now you see these large gray colored animals with horns and beards laying around here. Now these are going to be the wildebeest. Now it is a pretty small herd of them out on the reserve, as we typically find them running around in herds ranging from about 50 to 1,000 individuals. Though once a year they are going to run around in a herd of about 1 million during what we call the Great Migration. Now during that time they travel about 1,000 miles altogether. Now you will see that giraffe there to our left-hand side. Now the giraffes on the reserve are going to be the Maasai giraffes. We can tell them apart based off of those spots that they have. So their spots are going to be a very large species of antelope, the largest species of antelope actually walking around. That is going to be the eland, that grayish colored one there to our right. Now that one is based off of how thick and short his horns are, whereas that female will be over here hanging out by this baby giraffe, and she's got those thin, long horns. Now that little giraffe was about 6 feet tall when they were first born. I'd say based off of height right now that they're looking to be roughly 7 to 8 months old, probably nearing close. And they do use those to flap throughout the day to cool themselves off. Now, if flapping those ears isn't quite enough to cool down, they can spray themselves with, because they are the largest of the flamingo species, but also the lightest shade of pink. Now that pink coloration is going to come from a protein called beta-carotene. Now beta-carotene is going to be found in brine shrimp and krill, which just so happens to be what their diet mainly consists of. Now when flamingos first hatch out of their eggs, they are actually going to be gray in color, and then over time as they eat more is how they gain that pink coloration. The cheetahs are going to be the fastest of the land mammals, reaching about 60 miles per hour in just under 3 seconds. Now with that incredible speed does come the need for some pretty impeccable balance. That balance does come from that large tail of theirs. Now there is going to be 2 more just to our left side in between those trees, if you could maybe spot them back there. Now when cheetahs are running around, you see this one walking around here actually, they are going to curve that tail downwards in a C-shaped pattern, and it's going to act kind of like a rotor on a boat, helping them make those sharp turns and keep that balance when they are in pursuit of prey. Now this rock structure you see coming into view is going to be the Kopi rocks. some lions hanging out. That is because they do love to use this as a vantage point to look out over their territory, monitoring all the animals on that savanna, looking for their prey as well as those intruders. Now, lions are going to be primarily active super early in the morning and super late at night, so I'm not going to be too shocked if we don't see them out and about right now, as they probably are just sleeping and napping.
How big he is.
What's he doing? Is he eating grass?
Yeah.
Please down this side.
How can we see the one? எங்கடா இருக்கு? தூங்குறானா? ஜூம் பண்ணு. குடி குடி நான் ஜூம் பண்றேன். அங்க நேரா பாரு.
Now, to our left side is going to be some burrows. Now, these burrows have been dug by the largest burrowing land mammal, which will be the warthogs we see running around here. Now, the warthogs are going to use their sharp tusks to dig out that dirt. Once they're satisfied with the size of that burrow and it's time to go to sleep or they get spooked by another animal, they're going to run into that burrow backwards. That way they can protect themselves against those ambush predators. Now, we do have those white rhinos that we were hoping to see compared to the black rhino. Now, they are going to have a flat shape to their mouth, which is going to let us know that they are not a grazing animal, so they're not going to reach up for ostriches. Now it looks like they are hanging out by their nest of eggs. Now those eggs are going to be so large that they're going to weigh about 3 pounds each. So they're pretty heavy. We can compare that to about a whole dozen of chicken eggs. In here. Now these guys are pretty calm right now. Looks like we might be eating some lunch and maybe even just taking a nap. Now these guys typically roughhouse with each other. They do love to play around, so they'll butt heads and climb all over the place. Though they are known to be a ruminant, which means they have a four-chambered stomach, which allows them to pretty much eat anything that they can get their mouths on. Laying on the ground, recycling, or even just donating spare change to a conservation fund can help out a lot more than you might realize. Disney does have its very own conservation fund that you can donate to at any of those gift shop registers if you're finalizing those purchases today. Now, you certainly do not have to, but if you did choose to donate,
Got that in the back and it's like you're off roading.
Hi, gorillas.
Louder, they can hear you.
Oh, baby.
Oh, they're going bye-bye. Say bye, gorillas. Yeah, let's go see what else.
Give me your phone, Mom.
Oh yes, this is it right here. It's not really bad. It's a sticker.
Why don't you go get a sticker?
This is our badge. Answer some questions. Are you ready, explorers? Yes.
Say yeah.
First question for your safari badge. Tell me, what was the code name of your safari trip?
I knew there was an orange and a yellow.
Symbol 1. Very good, explorer. Next question. What was everyone's favorite animal you saw on safari? The rhino. Here's a very important question. What's something we can do to help protect the environment and homes for the animals? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
In the trash can.
Got it. Excellent work, explorers.
Say thank you. Thank you.
Page 14.
What is it?
Do you want to put it on?
Wow, good job.
Thank you.
Nice job, everybody. Asante sana.
You gotta give yourselves a big one. Very nice job. Wonderful family. Nice job, you guys. We like the way you get down. Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. We have some instruments here for anybody who wants to be part of the band. You can play a djembe and take a shaker with the band and let's celebrate. Oh, yeah. One big family. Just
Birds will come and grab it and they'll take you away. I'll give it to you after we're done walking here, okay? Avikutti.
What are you doing?
Wow, you know, do you see how many colors of fish?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many.
There's more fishes, Mom.
And look here, look here. Look here. Look, people. Amira, look.
Learn more about the different animals that will live here. And maybe when you see any different firehouse,
They'll come and tell you not to do it. Cutie. See the baby's puppy. Oh yeah. Babies. Oh yeah. Meerkats. Meerkats. They look different. This far we need to see what you see. Over there. Yes, you see? You see there straight? Straight ahead. You see the cute boy. Zebras. Two zebras. Come, let's go see more. We got to go come. Gorilla is there. Oh, okay. Oh, so cute. Papa, did you see the gorillas? Yeah. Chatting time. Big film. I don't think Wow! We are entering into the cave!
Having monkey, tiger, and dragon. Komodo.
இந்த கண்டா குட்டிமா குட்டிமா இந்த இருக்கா the fuck did I go? Before the really far.
பாத்தியா ஸ்ரீகுட்டி இங்கதான் ஃப்ரண்ட் வியூவா இவருக்கு ஹலோ சார் கொமோடோ டிராகன் ஒருத்தன் தான் இருக்கானா வேற ஒன்றும் இல்லையா அவனுக்கு ஃப்ரெண்ட்ல யாரும் இல்லையா ஃப்ரெண்டு கேர்ள் ஃப்ரெண்ட் பாய் ஃப்ரெண்ட் யாரும் இல்லையா
something when America when Robbie the play will run away when the play run away it will Tiger King.
இங்க இருக்கா
Hi girl. I can't call him.
What's up? Yeah, this is the part where I have to teach you something. It's part of the exchange. I have to teach you, and then you get the sticker. All right, come on up. First question: why do tigers have stripes?
What?
Why do tigers have stripes?
Stripes. Why do tigers have stripes?
What do you do when you play hide and seek?
A camouflage symbol.
Yes, there you go. They're basically camouflage. They use the tall grass and leaves to blend in, and once they see their prey, they'll run up, grab it, and run away. The next question is talking about a secret code word, but I actually have that word right here. What's that top word say?
Stop.
Stop? Well, what's the bottom word say? If you don't know, we can sound it out. Deforestation. Very good, this ball. What do you think that means? So, imagine if you lived in a really big house and everyone has their own room. I want everything shrunk down to your room. That's it. That's where everyone's going to live. Tigers unfortunately lost a lot of their habitat in the wild. They're now down to these orange sections. But something small that you can do to help out is you can always buy sustainable school supplies. It's an easy way to help out tiger habitats. All right, now you can get your sticker. Give me a moment.
ஸ்ரீகுட்டி நீ வாங்கிட்டியா அங்கே ஆன்சர் பண்ணு
Welcome, you have a good day. Just need one?
These two get one too, but they're just shy.
That's cool. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Oh, it's her chair. That's why. It's her chair.
நீ போ முன்னாடி
Our age range is specifically.
Adhu-kutti.
Birds of the Royal Forest.
Adhu,
wait.
That's it. Yes. Adhu, go. Adhu, Avi, go. Guys.
We can see.
Guys, move.
Alina,
Let's go.
Adhu, Alina.
Kind of Walika.
Huh?
Kind of Walika.
Hey guys, வாங்க போலாம்